We all know about 2012 Kansas State, right? Led by iconic college quarterback Optimus Klein, him and the K-State Wildcats will begin the season ranked 22nd in the country, climbing their way up to number 1 in the BCS rankings, setting themselves up for a chance to play in the BCS National Championship game against Notre Dame, or maybe they win it all, becoming one of the most unlikely national champions in college football history, up to that point. Sadly, it wasn't meant to be, as they would lose a trap game on the road versus Baylor, knocking them out of the BCS title game. I, for the longest time, thought the 2012 Kansas State football team was by far and away the closest the Wildcats have ever been to making the big dance. I've made 2 videos on them and have looked over their history at least a dozen times and thought I wasn't missing anything. Wrong. Somehow, someway I've been ignoring the 1998 K-State Wildcats. This team, oh man, this team was legit so close to making the BCS National Championship game that it hurts my soul. If only like 1 or 2 things go different, Kansas State might have already won a national title. Hypotheticals aside, one thing that was a fact was that this 1998 K-State football team was extremely fun to watch and also highly talented. This season was a roller coaster with mostly ups, but like all carnival rides there are downs, and I'm here to guide you through it all. Kansas State football in the 90s wasn't anything like it was today, if we're being completely honest. Dare I say the Wildcats were on the verge of becoming a Tier 1 college football program? I know that sounds like a reach when saying it out loud, but the proof is in the pudding. K-State was really building something special, and it was all led by their legendary head coach, who we will address when the time comes. Like everything in life though, it wouldn't come easy. I saw a lot of people commenting under a video I made about historically terrible college football programs that Kansas State wasn't historically a bad college football team. However, I would have to disagree. Kansas State before 1991 would only have one 7-win season in the last 30 plus years, which happened in 1954. And it doesn't get much better in between, with maybe a couple of 6-win seasons, a lot of 3 to 4 win seasons, and even 5 seasons during those years where they wouldn't win a single game. If that's not historically terrible, I don't know what is. The change would begin very slowly. Going back 10 years from the season we are covering today, the great change would coincide with the firing of Stan Parrish, who only managed to win 2 games in his 3 years coaching at K-State. With him gone, a legend would step in, a hotshot offensive coordinator coming over from Iowa in 1989. It was hard to tell the difference at first, with the Wildcats going 1-10 in 1989 and 5-6 in 1990. 1991 would be a game changer though, with Kansas State winning 7 games in a single season for the first time since 1954. In only year 3, the new coach was making program history. Sadly, in 1992, the Wildcats would get brought back to reality, going 5-6. And then everything would change. Back-to-back 9-win seasons in 93 and 94. In 1995, after breaking program history, winning 9 games for the first time in school history, they decided to break that record, going 10-2, winning the Holiday Bowl and finishing 7th in the final AP poll, by far their highest finish up to that point. 1996 would see K-State winning 9 games once again, but more importantly, they had officially planted their flag and let the college football world know they were here to stay and compete. And while not in 96, very soon they would be coming for the crown. In 1997, the Wildcats would break another program record, winning 11 games for the first time in program history, going 11-1, winning the Fiesta Bowl over Syracuse. I wouldn't say they were ever a real threat to win it all this year because they would lose to Nebraska early in the season, and if they wanted to make a natty run, they'd have to win the Big 12. And to do that, you had to dethrone the Nebraska Cornhuskers. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Still, 1997 would bring the program a lot of well-needed momentum, as they would close out the season on an 8-game winning streak, setting themselves up perfectly for a deep run in 1998. Coming into 1998, K-State was looked at as a serious threat to win the national title. Their preseason ranking would be 6, which is easily their highest preseason ranking in program history, and that record still stands to this day. It wasn't just the AP who had high expectations for this Wildcat ball club. Taking a look at some of the conference preseason predictions for the 1998 season, the consensus opinion seemed to be that Kansas State was the best team in the Big 12, or at the very least the best in the Big 12 North, even being slotted ahead of their personal boogeyman, Nebraska. Now, it might have been because their legendary head coach, Tom Osborne, retired after the 97 season, but none of that matters. What does matter is that for the first time in program history, Kansas State had an actual shot and path to a national title. Now let's get into some of the key players and figures a part of this 1998 Kansas State Wildcats football team. Starting with the architect of everything, the most important figure in Kansas State football history, coaching in his 10th year up to that point, Bill Snyder. This season, he had his offense and defense playing at elite levels. The defense would only allow 13.3 points per game, which would rank 7th in the country. And the offense, oh man, this offense was explosive, averaging 48 points per game, which would rank them first in the entire country for scoring offense. I'm super excited to take a look at some of the Wildcats' big-time offensive playmakers, so let's do that, then rotate to the defense after. At the most important position in sports, quarterback, the man under center would be Michael Bishop, passing for 2,844 yards with 23 touchdowns, both of which led the Big 12 Conference, while also adding 748 yards on the ground, with an additional 14 rushing tutties. Bishop was so good this year he would finish 2nd in the Heisman race, losing out to Ricky Williams. K-State and elite dual threat quarterbacks just go together like Sharon Moore and extramarital affairs. Quarterback Michael Bishop took a lot of carries away from the workhorse running back, Eric Hickson, but he still managed to make do with his limited touches, rushing for 902 yards and 9 touchdowns. K-State had two wide receivers ball out in 1998, starting with Aaron Lockett catching 44 passes for 928 yards with 6 touchdowns, and Darnell McDonald catching 75 passes for 1,092 yards and 9 touchdowns. McDonald's season was so insane that he would win the Big 12 wide receiver triple crown, leading the conference in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Before we move on to the defense, there's a return man who I want to shout out, All-American David Allen. He was a punt return specialist, leading the country in return yards with 729 and touchdowns with 4. His 4 punt returns still to this day ties him at third for most punt returns in a single season. Moving over to the defense, let's start with the DBs. K-State had some shutdown corners such as Lamar Chapman and Jared Cooper, both picking off a pass this year. Corner Dyshad Carter would do a little better than one, finishing this season with 2 interceptions. The linebacker core might have been the strength of this Wildcat defense, led by elite players like team captain Travis Oakes, Mark Semino, who would play some of his best ball in later years, and finally All-American Jeff Kelly. There's one man in the trenches that I want to mention, and that's Darren Howard, who was first team All-Big 12 and would rack up 10.5 sacks. Kansas State would begin the 1998 college football season cruising through their first 2 games of the year versus Indiana State and Northern Illinois, winning 66-0 and 73-7. There really isn't too much to speak of from these 2 games. I mean, we all see the scores, right? The Wildcats crushed these below-average opponents. So let's move on to where things actually started to get interesting. 2-0, now ranked 5th in the country, K-State was set to host the Texas Longhorns. Now, while the Wildcats were the favorites for this Week 3 conference matchup, this game was going to give everyone an idea of if this K-State squad was legit or not. The Longhorns had a dynamic rushing attack led by the Heisman winner Ricky Williams, and they were a solid football team. Was K-State for real, or just blowing out weaker competition?
Chris Stockton's got it teed up for the Longhorns. Back deep, David Allen, Gerald Niesman awaits, and we're underway from Manhattan. And Niesman, 6 yards deep, will not bring it out. Iowa, from where Bill Snyder came as offensive coordinator. Here's Hickson, and he's got a first down and a bunch more. He's going to go. Eric Hickson, touchdown. On their own 19-yard line. Scooped up by Kansas State, and now it's loose again. Big pile up. The umpire says Wildcats. 7. Bishop throwing a fade to the corner to McDonald, and he caught it. Touchdown. 60 yards on the season. Let's see if he can get his hands on this one. Stockton again got great hang time on it. Allen from the 8. Made the first 2 miss. The third one missed. He might be on his way. Broke a tackle. David Allen 30. David Allen is gone. Watch him run. The third of the year. Touchdown. Second down and 12. Applewhite. And that one's intercepted. Jeff Kelly, touchdown. I think Barry's a very close second, though. Applewhite on first down. Throws it to the corner, touchdown. Finally off. Get down in that red zone. They don't miss much. Bishop. Going to throw deep to the corner. Man is there. Got him. Touchdown, McDonald. Back position. And Helm takes a knee. This one's over. Kansas State cruises. 48-7 is the final. Bill Schneider's team wins their 11th in a row.
Yeah, the answer to if Kansas State was a legit football team or not was an emphatic yes, blowing out Texas 48-7. From the start of this game until the finish, I don't think the outcome was ever in doubt, as the Wildcats would put on a show on both sides of the field. The offense was outstanding, moving the ball effortlessly down the field. Running back Eric Hickson would rush for 124 yards and a touchdown, and through the air, receiver Darnell McDonald would catch 11 passes for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns, torching the Texas DBs all day long. Even with how elite the offense was, I think the defense takes the cake for this game, only allowing Texas to score 7 points while forcing 4 turnovers. But what really stood out to me was that they held the Heisman winner Ricky Williams to only 43 yards on 25 carries. Not too many defenses at the college level did that to Ricky Williams. This win, while at the time not seeming too big, was low-key a great win for K-State, as Texas would finish out the 1998 season 9-3, ranked 15th in the final AP polls. So yeah, K-State beat up on a really good Texas football team. Bill Snyder must have gave his team a speech in the following week talking about how they didn't score enough against Texas, because versus Louisiana Monroe in another Give Me non-conference game, they would hang 62 points in a 62-7 victory over the Warhawks. The Wildcats would total 607 yards of offense, and quarterback Michael Bishop would unlock his Sharingan, passing for 441 yards and 4 touchdowns in this pretty easy win. Damn, since I've been making these videos looking at teams from the 90s, I don't think I've yet to run into an offense as explosive as this 1998 K-State football team. Their numbers from 1998 match up with a lot of offenses in the current era of college football. And I'll be honest, before I started doing research for this video, I did not expect the offense to be this good. For some reason, I thought the defense would carry this squad. I don't know why, but I'm glad I was wrong. 4-0 ranked as the 5th best team in the country, the Kansas State Wildcats were done with the non-conference Give Me games. From now on, it was Big 12 action, and that's it. And first up on the Wildcats' path to a national title was a road game against the 14th ranked 5-0 Colorado Buffaloes. So far this season, while the Wildcats have been dominating every opponent they faced, they had also been at home for every game this season, never really having to venture away from their own castle. This game wasn't going to be like that, as they were going to be in a rowdy environment playing against a team who believed they could make just as deep a run as Kansas State. All of those games where the Wildcats would score 60 plus points, yeah, get that out of your head. This game was going to be about field positioning, setting the tone in the trenches early, and most importantly, capitalizing on your few chances to score, because points would be a luxury in this game.
Report, Artie. Well, the first thing they've got to do tonight, Kansas State, is the RPM factor. Bishop has got to run the ball, pass the ball, and make you miss. And the last thing, play 60 minutes. This is their first road game. It's a high altitude here, but because they have dominated their opponents this year, they have not played a full game. So the fourth quarter and playing 60 minutes is vital.
And for Rick Neuheisel, his scouting report.
Well, the number one thing that the University of Colorado has got to do is play efficient on special teams. Kansas State is arguably the best special teams in the United States. And the last thing that Rick Neuheisel wants to do, he wants to keep this game close and get it to the fourth quarter so his Buffaloes can take advantage of this great home court advantage.
Well, kicking off for Colorado will be number 9, Jeremy Aldridge, the punter. And interesting, Kansas State not expecting a very long kick, as everybody is a little bit up. And this is Gerald Leisman inside the goal line. And another for the Buffs. Behind the line of scrimmage again, and the option back to Hickson. He has some running room. Great blocking by the wide receivers. Smelt, third down and goal from the 5, the option. Now it has to be Bishop doing it himself, but he's not going to do it. 30-yarder. High snap. But the kick is good, and Grammatica goes to 7 for 10 on the year. And Butler Johnson now in the backfield for Colorado. Machete. Play action. Pass is complete. Running room to Pete. He's got some speed. Dragged down inside the 50. In motion. Carter stays with him. Fumble. Kansas State has it. They fumble again, and Bishop's going to try to take advantage of it through the air. He's going deep. Pass intended for Lockett. He's got the catch. Goolsby, did he get in? Yes, touchdown Kansas State. They've had third and short most of the time. Bishop will keep it on the option pitches. Hickson gets the handle. Look out! One man to beat, but he's knocked out of bounds finally.
Just excited to get the opportunity to come in and play tonight.
Grammatica from 41 yards out, and he drills it.
Linebacker 2 years ago, and he's found a home.
Bishop, the pitch back to Hickson. It's loose. Colorado has it! Looking for Stiggers. He's there. Did he get it? Touchdown, Colorado! 3 to the right in the middle of the field.
Unbalanced line.
And they're not going to get it. It will go in the books. The fans don't like it. Colorado is out of timeouts. The valiant effort, but they will come up short. And Rick Neuheisel's first loss of the season. The defense played exceptional. The offense struggled.
Man, this 1998 K-State football team definitely showed they were real contenders to win it all this year, taking down the 14th ranked Colorado Buffaloes on the road 16-9. This win was super impressive. The Wildcats were able to show that not only could they blow teams out, but if it ever came to it, they could also get down and dirty and win a grinded out type of game. The Wildcats' defense was incredible, holding Colorado to only 262 total yards of offense, while keeping the rushing game under wraps, only allowing the Buffalo to rush for 37 yards on 31 attempts. Overall, an amazing day from the defense. Rotating over to the offense, while turning the ball over 3 times, they would do just enough to keep their team in front. Running back Eric Hickson would carry the running game, rushing for a game-high 137 yards, playing a pivotal role in controlling the clock and getting his team into field goal range, allowing kicker Michael Grammatica to do what he does best, making 3 huge field goals. K-State vs. Colorado was definitely unlike most of the games the Wildcats had played and won this year, but a win is a win, and I don't think any of the K-State coaches would complain about a 16-9 road win over a top 14 college football team. 5-0 now ranked as the 4th best team in the entire country, Kansas State had really started to separate themselves from the rest of the Big 12. While still early in about the first month and a half of the college football season, the Wildcats had by far and away looked like the most impressive team. They could score with the best of them, hanging 60-plus points pretty much at will, and also could shut you down on defense, with the most points scored on them so far being a measly 9 points. Even with how elite Kansas State had been looking so far, there was still one question that remained. Could they actually take down their boogeyman over the last decade plus, Nebraska? The way this 1998 season was setting up, it looked like the Wildcats' national title hopes were going to be decided in that matchup. But that humongous game was still weeks away. The Wildcats still had to handle business against Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas, and Baylor. Yes, they would be favored pretty comfortably against all of these Big 12 opponents, but remember, K-State was now a top 5 team in the country, and any one of those teams that I just mentioned I'm sure would be dying to put it into this magical run. Unfortunately for them, they would have to wait for another year to do that, as the Wildcats would cruise like Royal Caribbean through that little 4-game stretch, dominating the teams in front of them, winning versus Oklahoma State 52-20, Iowa State 52-7, Kansas 54-6, and finally Baylor 49-6. As I'm sure most of you can already tell, the offense was phenomenal during these 4 games. Against Oklahoma State, quarterback Michael Bishop would put on a show, passing for 287 yards with 3 touchdowns, while also rushing for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. A nice little 5-tutty night, not too shabby. For Iowa State, not one single player really stole the show, as the entire offense would contribute to this big win, even being up so much that the starters would get some rest going into the 4th. The Kansas game, while the offense went crazy putting up 54 points, the defense is what really stood out to me, only allowing the poor Jayhawks to total 44 yards of total offense. Damn, that couldn't have been a fun football game for Kansas. And finally, to close out this stretch against Baylor, wide receiver Aaron Lockett would leave his fingerprints all over the game, catching 7 passes for 157 yards and a touchdown in a match that was pretty much over by halftime. The Kansas State Wildcats were now 9-0 and ranked as the second best team in the entire country, their highest ranking in program history up to that point, headed into arguably the biggest game in program history, where they would be hosting the 11th ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. The history behind this game would make any college football fans sick to their stomachs. Get this, K-State was riding a 29-game losing streak to Nebraska. Yeah, I said 29. Could you imagine losing something 29 times in a row? I play Fortnite and I'm pretty ass, but even I catch a dub at least 11 games in. So to say it was about time for K-State to finally win one was an understatement. However, do you really think the Nebraska Cornhuskers, college football's team of the 90s, was just going to let another team surpass them for Big 12 supremacy? I don't think so. Number 2 ranked K-State versus the 11th ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. One team trying to take the leap to the next level of college football, while the other defending the throne that they had sat on for so long.
The seniors are being introduced, and that's Michael Bishop there in the arms of his coach. Michael Bishop, the quarterback, who is starting to see the yellow brick road. The new K-State Stadium, Wagner Field, will be packed today, and perhaps a new attendance record. They will enlarge this stadium after this season. The last time Kansas State beat Nebraska on this campus was 1959. The last time the Wildcats beat the Cornhuskers, period, was up in Lincoln in 1968, 29 years ago, and this is the only time the Kansas State Wildcats have ever been number 1 in anybody's poll. So from Osawatomie to Ottawa, from Leawood to Liberty, this may be a dish. They elect to take the football. That tells you something about their mindset, and they know full well with Martin Gramatica kicking off, they will start at the 20-yard line and along the front. And Crouch back for the pass. Lets it go. He's got his man wide open. Jackson. Jayhawks, the Wildcats are undefeated. I knew I'd say that once today. It's touchdown. 9-yard line for Nebraska on their side. Crouch pitches back to the big back. Fumbles the football. Kansas State gets it right back.
They're going to either run the option or the fade. There it comes.
It's Bishop. He's in there.
Nobody can complain what he's done here.
On first down and 23 now. Sack. Ball's loose. Huskers got it. Was he down? No. Crouch with a lot of time, lets it go, and it is.
Caught it.
Caught the ball. Kenny Cheat. Bishop with a lot of time. Down the middle, he's got his man, McDonald. They played him soft, and McDonald's going to get away. And from the 1 for K-State. Bishop dives at the goal line, and he's in there. Touchdown. Play clock ticking down to 2. They get it off. Bishop throws. That's McDonald. Touchdown. Low snap, bounces. It's handled by LaFleur. He gets another good kick. Runs Allen back to the 40. Look out.
Look out.
He's out of bounds. Good backer went back there and made that tumbling interception. And now Bishop sends Murphy to the line of scrimmage with the ball, and he loses it. And here goes Nebraska the other way. Ralph Brown, and they will not catch him. And just like that, out of the backfield. And back goes Crouch to throw. He's got a man.
Touchdown.
Low snap. He got some room over there. Comes back into the end zone. Touchdown, McDonald. He'll go deep. You know he's going as fast. The Kansas State defender fell down. And the fumble. And Kansas State has it. And could score with it. Yes, touchdown, Jeff Kelly. And 3 seconds remain. And the students have come tumbling out of the stands.
They can't wait any longer.
They've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Enough of these heroics.
There go the goalposts.
Have a party.
At both ends, the goalposts.
Wow, what a weird game to say the least. If there are any K-State fans watching this video right now that remembers this game, please tell me how it felt in real time. I can only imagine the pain you were going through. Kansas State would get the win, taking down 11th ranked Nebraska 40-30, ending an almost 3-decade-old losing streak. But the anxiety all the players, fans, and coaches at the time had to be feeling must have been immeasurable. The amount of swings and momentum shifts during this game is something that you don't get to experience every day. At first it looked like Nebraska would start to pull away, and then K-State would claw their way back, taking control and taking the lead. Don't get too comfortable though, because a 74-yard fumble return would tie things back up, followed a couple of drives later by Eric Couch tossing a 9-yard touchdown pass to give Nebraska the lead in the fourth. That lead wouldn't be safe, as Michael Bishop said, "Whatever you can do, I can do better," connecting with Darnell McDonald on an 11-yard pass for the game-winning touchdown. Just an absolutely insane football game, and that's without me even mentioning all of the turnovers. I couldn't put them all in the highlights because there was just way too many. Freaking 8 turnovers in a top 11 matchup that had legit national championship implications. Talk about playing clean, smart football. To be honest though, I don't think K-State gave a damn. They had just won arguably the biggest game in program history, put a 29-year-old curse to bed, and if anyone had any doubts about them being a serious national title contender going into the Nebraska game, they had all been silenced. 10-0 still ranked as the second best team in the country. With Kansas State's win over Nebraska, they had officially clinched the Big 12 North and was guaranteed to play in the Big 12 championship game. They would face off against the Texas A&M Aggies. The Wildcats had still one more game left to play before the Big 12 championship, a road game against a pretty good 19th ranked Missouri football team, but they didn't come this far to lose to Missouri. Funny enough, Missouri would have K-State on upset alert for a little, going into halftime up 13-10. Their lead would be short-lived. K-State remembered what they were playing for and would come out of halftime scoring on back-to-back drives, retaking the lead and never giving it back, taking down 19th ranked Missouri 31-25. Alright, 11-0, ranked second in the country, everything came down to this, the Big 12 championship game. If K-State could win, they would be guaranteed to make the national championship game, where they would most likely match up against the Tennessee Volunteers. The Wildcats' whole entire season had been leading up to this, and the team they faced, Texas A&M, while not a guaranteed victory, was definitely someone K-State could beat. I know I said earlier their game versus Nebraska was the biggest one in Kansas State football history. Forget I said that. Erase it from your memory. Second-ranked K-State versus 10th-ranked Texas A&M was now the biggest game in program history. And if they won, the next one would be even bigger.
Quarterback Michael Bishop, maybe the best one-man show in college football. With the pass, or the Bishop can checkmate you with the run. Texas A&M stands in the way of Kansas State's title drive. The Wrecking Crew is ready to steal away any hopes of a national championship. You are looking live at the famous arch alongside the mighty Mississippi in St. Louis. Today in the Trans World Dome, more than 65,000 will watch the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship. Haven't seen his leg. Welcome to the big time. If the Aggies get a return, it'll be an upset. Hello, touchback. Here's Bishop, short drop. Now he pulls back deeper, waiting for someone to clear. Lockett well covered. Back to the other side, doing fumble. Loose ball. Aggies got it. Rick's second one to be played in St. Louis. Here is the flea flicker. Back Stewart's hit on the release, and it's intercepted by Kelly. Kelly's got it at the 23 for the Wildcats. Watch the tango. His punter puts it down. Hello, scoreboard. And the Wildcats making mistakes. Now Bishop's got a wide open man. The tight end Swift. Touchdown. 10. Here's the Bishop on the drop. Everybody covered, so he just pulls it back and waits. And now goes low. And got his big play receiver. Touchdown, McDonald. Hall, first down beautifully on that cutback, explodes, and he rolled. And Bynum is 2 of 2. Mississippi State tonight, and Florida State hoping for still another upset. Bishop fires, intercepted, picked up by Datwin, who dropped back on the zone coverage, and the great linebacker is out of bounds, possibly can. Straight ahead into the end zone for the Aggies, touchdown! Howard's got him, slips away. Fumble! K-State McIntosh has got it. 25-second clock, quarterback draw. Bishop slips free, reaches end zone. Touchdown, Kansas State. Brandon Stewart going right side, high, got it. Touchdown. And Stewart. Short drop deflected, K-State ball. They're 3:26 away from playing for the championship as Damian 6. They've got a timeout left. They want the ball back, want to force the punt. Bishop will try to run for it. Bishop, fumble! It is a first down. Aggies have got it. First down for the Aggies. Stewart got one-on-one, goes low, caught at the 14-yard line. Short drop, got Parker, slant, got it, touchdown! Now Parker will join him in motion. Stewart's got him in, he's got him, it's tied. Unless. Here's Bishop. Sprinting out of trouble, going to throw it deep down the middle. Got his receivers clustered. Jump ball, loose cut, but over. Caught short of the goal line, but the game ends. Bishop runs in that direction, and the door closes. He's short of the first down. James Garcia, the holder. And we play on. Short drop, fade, end zone, incomplete. Good football in Florida. Nails another one. In motion, and Butler takes him. They'll look for Parker on a quick hit. Parker, touchback, 10, 5, end zone, out of bounds. Touchdown, touchdown, got it, touchdown. The Aggies upset Kansas State. Sir Parker, and ladies and gentlemen, it was close down there in the corner. He was reaching for the pylon as they were pushing him out.
This one hurt to watch. Kansas State had so many opportunities to put this game away, and every time Texas A&M looked down and dead, they would pull magic out of their ass, taking down the Wildcats in double overtime 36-33, ending their national title hopes. You really can't even get mad at the Aggies because they played very gutsy football. I couldn't even count how many high-leverage situations they were put into and somehow executed. I won't spend too long on this game because we all saw the highlights. It's very clear what went wrong for Kansas State. Football is a brutal game where even sometimes you outplay a team for 90% of the game and still end up on the losing side. Before we move on, I want to correct some things. I said not too long ago the Wildcats were guaranteed a spot in the national title game with a win, and that might have not been 100% true. The rankings this year were all over the place with the AP and BCS, so while K-State was ranked number 1 in the AP, they were 3rd in the BCS, behind UCLA. UCLA would lose their final game of the season though, so for all intents and purposes, yes, if K-State won, they'd be in the Natty playing against Tennessee, but clearly they did not. So what now? Well, sadly after this amazing season, where Kansas State would only lose one game and still be ranked as the top 5 team in the country, holding on to the number 4 spot, for some reason they'd be playing in the Alamo Bowl versus an 8-4 Purdue Boilermaker football team. I'm not going to lie, that freaking sucks, to go 11-1 and be ranked 4th in the country, and the best bowl game you can get is the Alamo Bowl. I know that's just the way bowl games were handed out back then, but come on, that shit blows. Regardless, K-State had a choice to make, end the season on a loss, or even though I'm sure their heads were not 100% in it, lace them up and finish out this incredible season, taking down Purdue in the Alamo Bowl.
From deep in the heart of Texas, ESPN's Bowl Week rolls on down the river. Tonight from San Antonio, it's the 4th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats and the Purdue Boilermakers at the Builder Square Alamo Bowl. the Purdue Boilermakers. K-State won the toss. They deferred, and this one is underway. Gets by Clapton and goes into the end zone, into the field. That's the reason Breeze is having to come up. Blitz right up the middle. Looking, delivers, touchdown. Here comes the blitz again. Got a man and caught at the 5, and touchdown Jones. Punt returner, or David Allen, I should say, standing and waiting for the return. High pass over his head. Second one we've had tonight, and K-State had to return on it, and he missed it. And K-State will recover it for a touchdown. First and goal, Wildcats. Allen again, right side, touchdown, K-State. Red line. Bishop, deep retreat, pumps it, going long, got a man open. And McDonald makes the catch. Flag goes down, but he will score it easily from 87 yards. Let's call it 88 yards. Throws for the end zone. Touchdown, Swift. Well, they have been considerable. Breeze gonna run it, and he's got a lot of running room. Gonna take it as far as he can, and he did get out of bounds for a clip. Breeze lobs it for the end zone, got him there.